Welcome, everybody, to another exciting episode of Multiplayer, the podcast by gamers for gamers. I am your host, Zach Matscanis, alongside the lover boy himself, Javier Ortiz.
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
Yo, what you got there?
Is that backwards?
That's backwards. Not to me. It says, you are beautiful.
There you go. That's for everybody in the world.
But it's just like a big pack of dice?
Yeah, it's my big jar of dice. Like when I play like a D&D or anything, like this is my giant jar of dice.
Do you need that many to play D&D?
Well, no, but it's fun to just have, in case anybody's missing dice or, it costs like $5 at Barnes & Noble.
Oh, okay. Well, that's not too bad then.
Yeah.
$5 jar of dice.
Yeah.
All right. Well, remember, everybody, that Multiplayer is all over the place, in your ears and in your face. You can find us over at youtube.com/multiplayer, where I guess you could see big $5 jars of dice.
That say you are beautiful.
It sure does. Which is such a weird statement for just like a jar of dice.
Oh, that didn't come with that. I'd put that sticker on there.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I don't know where I got this sticker. I forgot. But I liked it, so I put it on there.
It's just some guy walking down the street, and he just stopped. He was like, "Hey, I need to give you this sticker."
And you know what? It was the best compliment I ever got in my life.
Multiplayer is also over at podcast services everywhere. Pick a podcast service. I don't care. Hav doesn't care. The guy on the street with stickers does not care. Just find a podcast service, type in Multiplayer, don't forget the ED on the end, and we'll probably be there. So yeah, there's all that. And then of course we're over at Patreon at patreon.com/multiplayered as well, where you can check out the video and audio versions of the show. It's all up there. Yeah. Woo! We're on episode 99.
Hell yeah!
Isn't that crazy?
One away.
Yep. If you missed last week, just a reminder that so basically after episode 100, we're gonna take a little multiplayer break for a little bit, just kind of focus on some other priorities. Not to say we won't be back in the future, but 100 is like such an awesome milestone for, a little show like this, little ragtag show where it's just like, kind of us just doing it as a hobby in our free time. And, obviously we both love
Mm-hmm.
doing this show. Gotta make time for some other things too.
Yeah. I was thinking of maybe putting up some solo stuff on my own, depending on how I can fit it and if it's cool enough, but I've been thinking about it, but we can talk about that later.
Word. Yeah, it'd be cool. But yeah, it's still like, if you're out there, you like the show, please like, subscribe, all that. We still will see all of that. Feel free to hit us up, send us a message.
DM me.
Yeah, DM us, call us trash or give us ideas for future episodes, whatever you want. We'll still be around, but looking forward to hitting that 100 episodes milestone.
Yeah.
Still got to figure out what I want to do next week as far as that final episode. I got some thoughts, but haven't locked it down yet.
It's still going to be before the new year, right?
Yeah,
okay.
That's the plan. Yeah, and there was that weird. There was a miscommunication last week.
Math is hard.
Math is hard. I was thinking we were on episode 97, and then after the show, Hav reminded me I'm a big dummy, and we were actually on episode 98 last episode. So obviously this is episode 99, and the next week will be 100.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. I think we got a good show this week. It's mostly just looking back on 2021. It's been a weird year.
2020 part 2, as some would call it.
Word. And then I want to look a bit at 2022 as well, because that's looking to shape up to be a pretty good year for video games anyways. Can't speak for variants and all of that nonsense.
Let's not. Let's just not.
But as far as video games go, it's looking to be a pretty good year. So before we jump into all of that, Have you been playing anything? I know this time of year you're typically you're playing through Batman Arkham Origins
Yes.
and some other Christmas stuff. So I wanted to get the update from you.
Yeah, Arkham Origins and then Miles Morales are kind of my go-to games this time of year. Love them. I finished both. And it's so great to revisit that game. Although I think I said it last week, and I'll say it again if I didn't. Man, I wish they would re-release Arkham Origins. Do a little, not necessarily HD remake or anything, but just port it to the latest generation, or it's available on PS Now, but make it downloadable. Like, man, it'd be great because the other Arkham games are on there. They even had an Arkham collection for the mainline titles. But I also went back and played the Spider-Man 2018 DLC because after I played Miles Morales, I was like, man, I want more Spider-Man. So
I actually never played that DLC.
Oh no,
is it good?
It is. It's very good. It's a little short. It's like 3 different little story missions. And they're pretty short, but since there's 3 of them, it's kind of a nice little bundle. Although it's weird that when you play it, some of the gameplay feels like not as clean as like the main game. It's strange. It's because it's like, it's all the same, but there's something about like that DLC where I don't know if it was like they rushed it out or anything, but it feels less smooth than the regular game line or regular gameplay.
Do you mostly mean like maybe the boss encounters and stuff like that, or just like not as great, or
like some of the missions, or you have to do like speed missions of like, hey, Spider-Man has the web swing over there and throw a bomb, get rid of the bomb, and it just feels like when you're trying to go as fast as you can, the game can't necessarily keep up with what you. Yeah, and it's and there's some little buggy parts where when a mission starts, it's like you get stuck for like a quick second and then you can actually start. It's strange. It's not terrible by any means, but when it comes to the actual regular game, it feels less polished, a little less clean, a little less fluid and smooth, but it's still fun. I mean, it's still super great because like all 3 you get, there's a Black Cat one, a Silver Sable one, and then the last one is about Hammerhead, I think. But yeah, it's really fun, and you get to interact with those characters a little bit more than you do in the regular game. Black Cat's not in the regular game at all, so it's cool to see her and like interact with her story, and it's a very fun story that that Spider-Man has to deal with, and like I don't want to spoil it for you, but it's pretty funny the way he reacts to some things. So.
Yeah, for sure. Well, yeah, I'll probably get around to playing it one of these days. It's just, I have a tough time getting around to like going back to a game and playing DLC after the fact. Just kind of takes a lot, and we can get into it in a minute. But I actually started playing DLC for a game that is like several years old now. But before we get to that, you can finish.
Yeah,
you've been
I was gonna say that's funny because I also just bought the DLC for Bloodborne, which it's been years and I should have gotten it before, but I finally got it because it's on sale on PSN now for like $8. So I finally got that, and I'm gonna play through it. I think it's called The Old Hunters or something, and I'm super looking forward to revisiting Bloodborne because I know you have mixed feelings, but I love that game so much.
To each their own.
Yeah, true. I love that game, and it's so beautiful. And I've seen some gameplay of the DLC, so I'm really looking forward to playing through it because it just looks so cool. And you get some new weapons and new encounters with new enemies, and I can't wait for that game. I mean, to play that game. It's already out, but I really can't wait to start it. It's gonna be so much fun.
Yeah, I didn't even realize Bloodborne had DLC.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
The Old Hunters. It's I've watched some gameplay and it looks so good. Like it's so much fun.
That's another game they need to like polish that up and put it on PS5, like a lock 60 frames and just like make it look a little crisper.
Yeah, make that grossness even more gross. That game is just wet and gross. Like, it's the best way to describe that game.
Some nice ray tracing off like the pools of blood
and the pools of like vomit and stuff, because there's a lot of enemies that just vomit on you. It's gross.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's a really nasty game when you look at it closely. It's like all the stuff you encounter. It's like, ugh, they're really just nasty.
Yeah, would not be a good world to live in.
No. Like, it's so much fun to play in that world, but it's like if you were to live in that world, oh god, this is awful. Yeah. Just everything's awful.
Yeah, it'd be an unfortunate world. So that's basically what you've been playing.
Yeah, I think so. I'm trying to think if I touched anything else, but I don't think I have. No, I think that's about it.
All right. Well, at least you've been playing through your Christmas games.
Yeah, I love doing that.
Yeah. I've been playing a few different things. Yeah, I know last week I mentioned I was playing through Halo multiplayer. I'm definitely burnt out on that now. It's just like, you know, I put a decent amount of time into it. And you know, it's like I was doing pretty well in that game. You know, I can definitely hold my own. And but it's just one of those things. Like, man, it's just like not. I guess it's just not for me. Once again, to each their own. But like, I don't see how it would convince me to like come back and play more.
Right.
It's just like, you know, it gets a little tiresome pretty quickly in my opinion.
I feel that way about a lot of like FPS, especially online shooters. Like, it's really tough to bring me to one.
Yeah, but you know, once again, like I was kind of saying last week, it's like a game like Overwatch. Like I think it just has like so much charm and character, and just like I played a couple rounds with some friends last night, and I hadn't touched that game in months, and it's just like, oh man, it's fun to like jump back in. They got the winter event going on right now.
Yeah, the Christmas stuff.
You know, like I can go and kill somebody with a hammer, and Reinhardt's like, "Merry Christmas!" It's just like it's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I started jumping around to a few other games. First off, I had never gotten a chance to play this game, and I've wanted to for years, and I finally like jumped into it. Sea of Thieves. I started playing some Sea of Thieves. Once again, like Game Pass is great because it doesn't cost you anything other than your Netflix type subscription, and you could just jump into a game. If you don't like it, you don't like it. You just move on to a new game. But yeah, I started playing Sea of Thieves just by myself. It really is more of a like multiplayer game where you want to get like a few buddies and jump into, a quest or whatever. But just from the short amount of time I've spent with it, it's first of all, for its art style, it's a very, very pretty game. And the water is just beautiful. And we did an interview a few years ago with one of the creative directors of Sea of Thieves, and he was talking to us about the water effects, and he seemed like so like passionate about those particular effects. And yeah, I mean, the water's beautiful. If you're gonna get one thing right in a game where you're sailing a lot,
if you're in the ocean,
so the water is very pretty. And the ships they act like ships. It's like you really got to kind of do all the things to get your ship going. You got to raise the anchor. You got to you have to go and untie the ropes to like set the sails, and you and then you kind of take off, and it's kind of like I mean, you're sailing for a little while. It's like and you got to kind of like keep course, and people could just like roll up on you, and they might be friendly, they might not, they might try and steal your treasures.
Is it a better sailing experience than Legend of Zelda Wind Waker?
I think so. Just for the fact that like it just feels really good. It just feels like kind of realistic to like set sail in that game and kind of start it at an adventure. It's pretty cool. It's definitely something where if I had a lot more time, I would love to jump into that with like some friends. Like if I was a little younger and like I had time to kill and like 3 other buddies, that would be like a cool game to just like really sink a lot of time into.
I see what you did there. Sink.
Well, it wasn't the intention, but I'll take it. But yeah, I mean, it's a pretty cool game. It's very, very much a rare game.
Did the Pirates? Because I don't know if they're doing like a Pirates of the Caribbean. I don't know if expansion or DLC or.
Yeah, it's out. You can go play it.
Yeah. Nice.
I did not start it. I was basically doing just some like.
Is that included with Game Pass?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, Microsoft really doesn't charge any money anymore.
Wow, that's amazing.
It's like I just played. I was playing Sea of Thieves. I was playing Halo. I was playing a few other games. Like it doesn't cost me anything other than my $15 a month.
Man,
so it's pretty sweet. Like I'm gonna start Doom Eternal soon. Like that's just in there.
Nice.
I might start what's that Obsidian game that came out not too long ago? Escaping my mind right now. But gosh, now that's gonna bug me. But there's a bunch of games on there. There's a bunch of games on there that I'm pretty excited to kind of go through and play. Which brings me to my next game, which is I went back and I played the DLC for Dishonored 2. I've never played that DLC, and I've always wanted to. But once again, it's just since Bethesda's under the Microsoft umbrella, it's just like it's all in Game Pass. So
right.
I just like fired up, Dishonored 2 DLC and started playing it. And first off, I love Dishonored. I love that world.
Do.
I know that's a series you don't like, but I'm a big fan.
It's not that I don't like it. It's just I've tried it on many occasions and I just can't get into it. I don't know what it is about that game. Something about it. I'm just like, I don't know.
I'm still curious to know if you would like Deathloop. Because it's Dishonored.
Yeah,
in a different world.
Same people.
But I love the world of Dishonored. I love just kind of sneaking in the rooms and like reading, weird articles about stuff, and it's kind of like that game's a lot like Bloodborne as far as like, man, this would not be a good world to live in. There's just plagues everywhere and just like all sorts of like messed up stuff going on. It's just like, ew, and like everything's kind of like gross. But man, I love just kind of skulking around that world and just like, choking out 25 guards and then just throwing them all in a dumpster together. and just like, I don't know what it is about like taking bodies, whether dead or unconscious in any game and just like finding a spot to hide them all is like one of my favorite things to do in a video game. I don't know why. Like I love just choking everybody out and then throwing them in the same spot.
Sure.
Like one cool thing about like Dishonored and Deathloop is like you can, you basically have like double jumps and you have this like kind of like teleport type move where you can get up into like weird crevices and stuff like that. And Dishonored 2, this DLC I'm playing, I'm going through these houses and there's like, these like mansions. There's like these big chandeliers and I just keep like knocking people out and then jumping on top of the chandeliers and laying the bodies up there. And I guess what I like most about it is I've always liked the idea of like later on all of these people waking up and they're just like, oh, what is happening? There's like 20 people and a dead dog on top of a chandelier. It's just like, I don't know. I wish like one game would like, it's almost like an end of credit sequence for like a stealth game where it's just like all these people suddenly like wake up and they're like, oh, what's happening? They just like fall off this chandelier.
I was gonna say they just fall off.
And they're just like, oh, Frank, this is your fault. No, this is your fault. What? I think that would just be hilarious. But yeah, I love that game for just like the situations you can kind of like get yourself into. And it's like, I guess I'm going to have to choke my way out of this. And there's just like all sorts of like cool secrets and stuff. So I've been really enjoying my time going back and playing through Dishonored 2's DLC. And I'm looking forward to like how that game ends, because like one of the interesting things in that world is this godlike figure called the Outsider, and the whole thing about the DLC is you're trying to kill the Outsider. So it's like I don't think that's much of a spoiler. But I'm
I
really
mean,
excited to see like where that game is like going
for
and how
sure.
it's gonna wrap up. Um, so yeah, that's the game I've mostly been playing and definitely enjoying my time with that. And once
That's
again,
awesome.
just Game Pass is
Yeah,
freaking
man.
dope.
I mean, it's. I know you kind of mention it almost every week, but man, such a good deal.
It's nice. I mean, $15 a month kind of adds up, but as long as you're, sort of using kind of using your money wisely there, where it's just like hop in and just like try some stuff,
Yeah.
It's like you can't really get burnt on it. Like I'm gonna probably fire up Forza Horizon 5 here soon, and I'm not like a car driving racing game type guy,
Sure.
but it's gotten like amazing of reviews across the board and game of the year type awards, and I'm like, maybe I should just jump into it even for like 5 hours and just like drive around. Like at the very least, that game's gonna be real pretty.
Very true. I'm
Um,
really hoping that PS Now, like I read an article like last week or this previous week where they said PlayStation's working on revamping so that they have their own type of Game Pass. I really hope that happens, man, because PS Now is like, it's okay, but it's nowhere near as good as Game Pass.
It's not even close. And
Yeah.
and it's kind of it's very different because it's like PlayStation Now is like a streaming service, and
Yeah.
Game Pass, you could just download the games and then they're on. Like there's no streaming involved other than like the actual downloading of the game, and you basically like, especially if it's like a Microsoft game or a Microsoft adjacent, that game will never leave Game Pass. So it's just like if you want Halo and Forza and Gears and every game under that umbrella, every Bethesda game like ever made at this point.
Yeah.
Like I've been really wanting to go back and do some of the Wolfenstein DLC I never played, so I could just do that now.
That's another really good point. Like how much DLC that people have, are locked out of now, but are able to go back and actually play. Because I can only speak for myself personally, but like when it comes to using like the internet for consoles, like I came really late to that. Because like my growing up when I still lived with my parents, like for so long we had the worst internet in the world, and you just like I just didn't do any online gaming because it just wasn't possible. And so like I was locked out of a lot of that kind of stuff. But like I would love to be able to revisit, like I've still never played Red Dead's the Undead Nightmare. What was it called?
Undead Nightmare.
I've still never played it, and I know it came out on a disc, so I can't always buy it, and I could totally play it now because I think it's on PS Now. But like that's one that like at the time I was just like I was locked out of it, and a lot of other DLC, and so it's just a great opportunity now for people, since now the internet's much more accessible for everybody. Such a good idea to just throw all of that on there. So you can get stuff that you never got previously.
Yeah, I mean, I think I mentioned to you, but like it wasn't too long ago I played through BioShock 2's DLC. BioShock 2, like that game came out in like 2009, I think.
Yeah, a while ago.
And I just went back and played that DLC, and that DLC is like fantastic.
Yeah,
and it's just like, man, I'm so glad I got the opportunity to play this on Game Pass. Like it didn't cost me anything, and I just hopped in and played through it, and it was great.
Yeah, the one thing I was able to do this past year that I never got to do before was me and Kehan through PS Now. We both played RE5. We were playing through that together because you can actually do that. They can set it up for you. So that was really fun playing through that. Like finally got to play through some of that with somebody else, which was a way better experience to play that game with co-op rather than by yourself.
Yeah, for sure. That game is it's pretty fun with a partner. I like I mentioned last week, I basically played that game with just a stun rod.
Yeah.
And I would just have my partner just like, run around with like every weapon just strapped to her. So I don't know, that's like a funny game to just like mess around with a friend in.
Oh, for sure.
All right, well, let's go ahead and jump into our first topic of the week. So, 2021 was, like I mentioned earlier, it's kind of a weird year, but I would say a pretty decent year for games. I would say there wasn't like that huge God of War type game this year, but
Yeah, agreed.
I think there's some real bangers, you know? There's some games getting like incredible scores, you know. There's the like the Halo Infinite and the Forza Horizon 5 and Deathloop and a few other games that just got fantastic reviews this year.
For sure.
Same thing like Psychonauts 2 and you know some smaller titles as well. So I kind of wanted to get your thoughts on like what was like your 2021 game of the year, and also and you can kind of answer these in whatever order you want, but like what game kind of surprised you most this year? Like, you know, something you played that you're like, oh man, I was not expecting that to be so good.
Yeah,
kind of deal.
For sure. I'll start with my favorite. I think what I had the most fun with this past year, and just because I was able to go back to it on like at different points in the year, and still really enjoy it, was RE Village. Like, ooh. Yeah, and I know it came out a little earlier, but man, like I played through it once, I really enjoyed it. I played through it again after that because once you beat it, you get to unlock a bunch of goodies. So replaying it makes it more fun. So like I played it once, and then I replayed it with a machine gun with infinite ammo, which just made it like just so satisfying, just running around like werewolves, and you're just like, no. It was great. And then, you know, like a month ago, I started the Mercenaries mode for the first time. Very fun. It just makes that game, it just makes the replay value like even higher than most games. And it just it's not too long of a game where you can replay it a couple times and you can totally get it down to where you know exactly where you need to go, and it just becomes, you know, it just becomes more that much more of a faster game to play through, which I really like. You know, I don't, you know, with today's world, you know, time being such a valuable asset, I love games that are like not too committed to just like super long and dragging out a story, and just like A to B, and you can get through it rather quickly. Like I think RE Village you could probably finish in a day if you really wanted to, which I love about it. And you know, when you unlock a bunch of stuff with unlimited ammo, you can do it even faster, and it just makes it more fun, you know, to play through that game with just like an RPG with unlimited ammo. Just makes it that much more satisfying. And yeah, and honestly, just playing through it, I appreciate it even more than I did when I originally played it for the first time. Where it's now become one of my favorite Resident Evil games, even though it's first person, which I still don't like. But like being able to play through it multiple times, it's definitely one of the best they've ever made. And I love that. And I love the character Ethan, and I love the setting, even though it makes no sense. You know, those
games never do.
No, it doesn't. And you know, but it follows that formula of like, it starts out with horror, and then it eventually goes into a weird sci-fi territory where you're in this weird lab and you're just seeing all this science mumbo jumbo. And you know, there's little Easter eggs about previous games, and then Chris Redfield shows up with and he's just a one-man army, which is amazing. You know, it just makes it that much more fun.
Those games are so great. Like they strike the perfect balance of like being pretty spooky at times and then just being absurdly silly.
Yeah.
And it's also like the first time you go through those games, you're kind of creeping around. You're kind of like, oh no, you know, the big vampire lady's gonna like dunk on me or, you know, whatever. and then like the second time you're just like blowing through those games.
Yeah, you're just like, running and gunning.
Yeah. You're just like, man, this is nothing.
Yeah. And that's what I love about it. You know, and that's what I like about it 8 more than 7, because I think 7 is more, it's too spooky, you know, like, and I appreciate the spookiness, but I love once you balance that out with like, all right, super spooky, now let's get silly, you know, like here's a giant fish man that you have to fight, and he turns to a giant fish monster, and it's ridiculous but super funny and just really enjoyable, which I loved about it. So that was out of the new releases, that's the one I enjoyed the most this year. And just because I can go back to it, you know, every couple months and still enjoy the heck out of it, which I love. I really love that about it.
Nice. Well, cool. And was there any games that kind of surprised you this year?
Yes. That's the one I played with you, Streets of Rage 4.
Ooh.
I was not expecting it to be as good as it was, but man, what a beautiful art style. Love that, just the way that game looks. It feels good. It's super responsive. It's such a great beat 'em up game, such a good throwback to old beat 'em ups. And you could totally, you and I beat that game in like 3 hours, I think it was. Yeah. So it's again, but it's so beautiful to look at. That's my favorite thing about it, is it's like, man, it's such a good looking game with a great animation and a great art style, and it's super fun to play through with somebody. It's the boss fights are really fun and silly, which I always love. That one, very surprised. Especially because beat 'em ups, I think, are very, they're very formulaic. It's kind of the same thing no matter which one you play. But that one was really fun. I loved the experience, and playing it with somebody, way better than if I were to play it by myself.
Yeah, 100%. And I totally agree. That game was fantastic, and just such a perfect beat 'em up.
Yeah.
You can have a really good beat 'em up, or you can have a really bad beat 'em up, and that was a really good beat 'em up.
Yeah, for sure.
And Dotemu, who's the company that developed that game, I think are so solid. I'm so excited for the Ninja Turtles beat 'em up game that they're making.
Well, Shredder's Revenge, right? That's what it's called.
Shredder's Revenge.
Yeah, can't wait for that.
And then they're also making that Metal Slug top-down strategy game, and that also just looks fantastic. They just understand these games and what made them special, and are just giving that to people.
There's something about when a developer, they take a game with a very basic concept and are able to execute it just to 100%, where you're like, God, this game shouldn't be as good as it is, but it is. Like a game that I think of like that is like Celeste, simple platforming, right? It's go from here to here, but God, that game is so perfect. It's so smooth. And you can play it and just go in and out of it so quickly, and even though you die a billion times, you can jump right back in. They understood here's the speed that you need for a game like this to be successful. It's just chef's kiss, that game. I love that game so much.
Yeah, for sure. And then I don't have this on the list, but was there any stinkers you played this year?
Ooh, I mean, I feel bad. I really feel bad for always going back to this, but man, the Sonic Colors. Sonic Colors Ultimate, man. It just, it's okay. It's very much okay, but just not, it should be better. It should be better than, and I know it's a re-release, so this really shouldn't count, but man, it should be better. It's not hard to make that game good, but they just find a way to not make it good.
There's never been a good Sonic game.
There's been a good Sonic level, and we've talked about it many times.
There's been amazing Sonic levels, but there's never been a good Sonic game.
Yeah, it's so weird. It's so weird to think about. And another one that I think, did Avengers come out this past year? I feel like it did.
Ooh.
Was that this year or last year? It all feels like one long year.
I think that was last year.
Was it? Because I feel like it was this year. If it was last year, then sorry. But if it wasn't, then definitely that one.
August 14th, 2020.
Damn, it just feels like one long year, 2020. It's hard.
I know, right?
Yeah, it's hard to remember what comes out this past year and this year. Well, yeah, then just, I would say Sonic Colors was just, man, got so annoying. Because, I saw some reviews, and I think IGN gave it an 8 out of 10. I was like, wow, that's not bad for a Sonic game.
Yeah.
I'll definitely play this. And then I played it, and I'm like, this does not deserve any type of high praise. This is such a basic, just not that good. It's very simple, but not good. It's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
I upset myself. I shouldn't be surprised at this point in my life, but damn it, I just get surprised where I'm like, Sonic, you should be better than this.
Maybe one day they'll make a good Sonic game.
Well, there's that open world one. See what happens.
I don't know. We'll see, man.
If there's one way to get speed right, I think it's open world, right? Technically,
I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things where I think the best way to kind of make speed work correctly is you almost want to put it on rails, because then you can really control the speed. I think the best concept for a Sonic game but like the execution wasn't completely there, was Sonic and the Secret Rings, which is like a Wii game.
Yeah.
And it was almost like a roller coaster where, you're kind of behind Sonic and he's just like running straight. And it was a cool concept, but like, once again, they can't figure out how to just make a good Sonic game.
I would say take the Breath of the Wild blueprint, and not necessarily, it's not going to be like that, obviously, because two very different games. But take the concept of being able to go anywhere in Breath of the Wild, but change it up for speed, right? Have like a speed bar where it's like you can get to that mountain, you just charge your speed bar, and then you get, maybe they have certain points that you can hit, like you were saying, like a rail system, but like. Like every open world game has like a yellow dot that shows you can climb here, right? It's always a yellow mark that you can climb something. So throw that in there, but you can make it longer and larger because it's all about getting there super fast. So maybe that kind of system could work where you can feel fast and you can feel like you can go anywhere because of it, if that makes sense. Like I think that could work.
I feel like you can't just like have good ideas in a Sonic game, though.
Yeah, I mean, you can. You just can't execute them.
Yeah, you just can't execute them.
That's the
difference.
difference.
The ideas can be there, but they can't be executed.
You can even lay the blueprint in a really good level and then totally abandon it after that.
Yeah, 100%. Oh man. Sorry, yawning.
That's what Sonic does, man.
I know, right? Well, cool, man. So, let me give you mine. I'll start with I'll go the opposite direction. I'll start with my stinker, and then I'll go to surprising, and then I'll give you my game of the year. Oh, you know what? Before I do that, you have any final shout out games that were also incredible that you just want to? It's like a maybe not your game of the year, but just dang, that was a shout out to that.
Actually, yes. One, the Ghost of Tsushima director's cut / DLC release.
Nice.
Having that game released for the PS5 version, just gorgeous. It was already a beautiful game, but when you play that in the PS5 version, holy crap! It is just a fantastic looking game. You could spend hours just doing photo mode in that game.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous. And then the DLC that came out, the Iki Island DLC, great. It's clean, it's smooth, it just feels good, it's super fun. Exploring that island, doing all the missions, doesn't take too long to do it all, but long enough. Great Easter eggs. They have a God of War armor set, they have a Bloodborne armor set. Yeah, I love that kind of stuff where it's Sony, it's just synergizing, intercompany synergy. Love that kind of stuff where it's we're Sony. Here's references to our other games. All they needed was a Ratchet and Clank armor set and Ghost of Tsushima for it to been over the top. But
sure.
But man, love that DLC. It's fantastic. It's such a good reason to revisit that game. Because you can play through that DLC and then go right back to the main game with all your new armor and stuff. Makes that much more fun. That one. God, I love that game so much. And then I would say the Castlevania Advance Collection that came out.
Nice.
Love that. Just a solid port for such really good Castlevania games. And we don't get good Castlevania games anymore. So it's just really nice to have those available. And I think it was $20, which you really can't beat that. The quality you get for that price point is amazing. It's God, it's such a good collection of games. So please, if you haven't played it, pick that up because it's cheap and it's so worth it.
Cool. All right, so let me give you a couple of mine. So first off, as far as stinkers, to be honest, I didn't play too many stinkers this year.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, a pretty good year for non-stinkers. Other than obviously I played through all the Halos, and there was a lot of stuff in those Halo games. I'm like, man, this is freaking boring.
It should be better.
This should be better. And I was just playing through Halo 4, and I was just it's just a slog fest. Everything the game just feels really slow, and I'm just not into it. So I eventually just kind of stopped playing that, and that's when I started playing Dishonored 2. I was like, why am I doing this to myself? So, I'd say that's as close to a stinker as I got. But the game that surprised me most this year was this really cool game called The Artful Escape.
Oh yeah,
And
I've heard that's really good.
Yeah. Have I mentioned this on the show? I can't remember.
I think so, maybe once.
Well, I'll just kind of mention it again, because everybody should go play this game, especially if you have Game Pass. It's just free on Game Pass. It's just like this little indie title, and it's like a platformer slash rhythm game type.
Nice.
And neither the platforming nor the rhythm part are like incredibly complicated or difficult or anything. It's more of a chill game, but it's got a really interesting story in it. You're basically playing this kid who's like the nephew of like a Bob Dylan type character, like this like legendary folk singer who like
Sure.
had like recently passed away, and like everybody is looking to you to like fill his shoes as like the next great like folk singer, but like you don't want to be a folk singer. You want to just like shred on the guitar and write like rock
awesome.
operas and stuff. And so, the game just takes you on this wild journey of like self-exploration and figuring out like who you want to be, and through that you're just like running through these like beautiful like kind of platforming levels and just literally the whole time you're just shredding on your guitar.
That's awesome.
And like the environment kind of interacts with like or reacts to like different beats from like or kind of just different beats in your guitar. Things will just start lighting up in the environment and stuff like that, and it's just like a cool game. It's probably about 5 hours, I would say.
Nice.
And it's just like, if you have just like an afternoon to kill, it's a beautiful game to just kind of go through, and it kind of gives you a lot to think about with your like self-reflection type stuff. And it's just cool. It's a cool game, and I love the art style, and I really can't say enough good things about that game. So if you got Game Pass, go play that game. It's great, and it's very like I said, it's very forgiving. It's not a very hard like rhythm based game or anything like that. It's probably on PC too, because it's Game Pass, so
sure
you could probably play it on there.
Yeah, it's on Windows, even Mac. You play it.
Yeah, so highly recommend.
I'm just looking up the price for us non-Game Pass people.
Yeah, I would say it's worth about $10, $15 maybe.
Let's see. Steam has it for 25% off, $15. Normally $20.
I'd say $15 isn't bad. Supporting like a little indie team like that for such a cool game. So
I like the name of the developer, Beethoven and Dinosaur.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, those guys are great. So so that was the most surprising game I played this year, but I definitely want to give some shout outs to a few games. I thought Kena Bridge of Spirits was really, really good, especially for like a brand new studio. Like they had never made a game before. Yeah. And they came out and just crushed it. Like that game is
great way to introduce yourself to the world.
Yeah, it's like beautiful. It's so cute. I would say the game gets pretty damn hard with the boss fights. It starts getting on like the kind of Soulsborne type level of just like Jesus. Like these bosses get really freaking tough.
Yeah. It's supposed to be a Pixar movie.
Yeah, it's like I was playing on normal difficulty and like. It's like, oh boy, man, this is it's getting tricky.
Nice.
So, jumping up to those harder difficulties, like you're gonna have like a serious challenge on your hands. But I really liked that game, and I really hope that they make another game in that series, just like a much larger scale.
I'm sure they will. It was pretty successful for for a brand new IP indie game.
Yeah, 100%. So really looking forward to what they do next. And I thought Metroid, the new Metroid game was really good. Metroid Dread. That game, like, really just like hit the right spot for me. Where it's just like I almost gave up about maybe an hour into the game. I got a little frustrated for a minute, and then I was like, "No, man, gonna figure this out. And then like the game got so good. Like once you figured out like how the game wanted you to play, it got really good. And it's one of those games like once you go through it once, then you can go back and play it again and just crush that game.
It was nice to see Samus come back too, like a brand new adventure.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm really excited for like, because that game apparently sold pretty well, so I'm hoping that Nintendo's like, let's double down on Metroid now, and do right by like Metroid Prime 4 and whatever the future holds for Samus. So definitely wanted to give a shout out to that. Other big shout out, Deathloop, I think is just a fantastic game.
I mean, Game of the Year candidate, of course.
Yeah, I mean, I had a lot of fun with that game. But I've thought about this a lot. What my Game of the Year is, and and I didn't even think. I thought I was like gonna like this game, but not love this game. But
let me guess.
I
was gonna say Returnal. I was gonna say that.
Yeah, Returnal, man. Like that's the game I keep going back and just thinking about.
Nice. Like that's awesome.
I really like the world in that game. I think it's just like very, very beautiful. All the different environments. It's just like nonstop, like action pack. Like, I mean, the weapons are just rad. The enemies you have to fight are just insane. And it's just this insane, just bullet hell game where like, I mean, everything just clicks into place. You're just like,
right.
And that's another game I almost gave up on as well. But once you figure out how the game wants you to play, and it's like, you're not going to get through this game if you don't play this way. Like, I was trying to like hide behind stuff and like, that's not a cover-based game. It's like, you have to constantly be moving.
Yeah, you got to move.
If you stop, you're dead. Like, it's just that kind of game. And so you just get into the zone and you're just like, I mean, you're doing this like little dash move. You're just sprinting through these little areas and just jumping around, just shooting everything in sight. And there's just, I mean, bullets coming at you from literally every direction, all at the same time, all the time. And between like that and the music, it just like everything just, it's like such a perfect symphony of like elements that's just like incredible. It's like, I love that game. And like the weird story that's going on in it as well. I went through and I got like the secret ending and stuff, and it's still like so weird. But I love it. It's like, man, I'm really excited to go back and play that game again. I've been trying to like, I might even do it during this little holiday break because I've been thinking about that game so much. But
nice.
That's definitely like my Game of the Year, and I was not expecting it. It's like another surprise game for me where I was like, I bet this game will be good, but maybe not for me. But that game is 100% like my jam now.
That's awesome. I love it. I love that when games, you start thinking about them when you haven't played them in a while, and then when you start playing it again, you're like, man, what a great return. I'm so glad I decided to pick it up again and start it up again. That's what I was saying about Village. Like, I love thinking about it, going back to him, just being like, oh, falling in love all over again. Like, it's so much fun to play through it.
Yeah, for sure. So, I definitely want you to, like, if you get a chance, play Returnal, man.
Yeah.
The game is
awesome. It's so like on my to-do list right now is Returnal, Deathloop, Kena, and the Guardians of the Galaxy game. Like all those, they're like on my wish list. So like when they get, if they get to a good price, I might just get them all at once.
Yeah, Deathloop's like $25 now.
Is it?
Yeah, it's real cheap. Go find it. And I think Returnal's like maybe 30, 40. They've been dropping in price fast.
Nice. Yeah, I know there's always a big holiday sale going on, so I'll check out the prices.
And Kena's a budget title anyways. I think that was only originally a $40 game.
Yeah.
So I bet you can find it now for like $25.
Yeah.
So,
I know. I like to get them all at once. I have them in order.
I feel like you're gonna like 3 out of the 4 of those games.
I hope I like Deathloop.
Yeah, really we'll see, man. It's definitely an arcane game.
I need to. No, I don't. I keep thinking I need to revisit Dishonored, but like every time I've tried it, I don't know. There's something about it where I just feel like it's just missing that X factor. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's like it doesn't feel like I'm putting enough oomph when I kill people or something. I don't know.
Have you tried throwing all the bad guys into one dumpster?
I haven't, but I should.
Because that's fantastic.
It's a pretty satisfying experience.
It's great. I do it like every stealth game, Splinter Cell, Hitman, all those games, Metal Gear, just throw everybody in one like dumpster or like some weird spot. I love it.
I need to I'm sure I'll like Deathloop. It seems like too good of a game not to like.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, man. So that was 2021. It's a pretty interesting year for games,
Definitely
got some good ones, but maybe not that level that I would say it's certain people expect, like a Last of Us type game, or
I don't think
one of those like crazy blockbusters.
I don't think there was anything like genre defining,
Yeah.
Like that game that's like, holy crap, now games are going to have to be like this.
Yeah. So, I think we're going to get some of those next year, though.
Yeah. I think so, too.
I think next year is going to be a good year. So I wanted to kind of talk about that, but also I wanted to mention a few things that happened this year that I think will kind of sort of like set the stage for some stuff going into next year. So just going back and looking at like events that happened in 2021. So first off, in January of this year, Nintendo purchased Next Level Games. And those are the guys that did like Luigi's Mansion 3 and stuff like that.
That's right.
So, and I think they do some of their sports titles as well. Like I think maybe I'm wrong on that one. I'd have to look it back up, but that's definitely like a big win and Nintendo's book. They put a ring on it. Like those guys really understand like, Nintendo, and the games that they make. So I think that was a good purchase for Nintendo. I think they'll be making some other like great things in the future.
Yeah, looks like I think I just looked them up real quick. They did Super Mario Strikers.
Yep, which I love.
Yeah.
I love the Striker games.
And then Luigi's Mansion 3, Dark Moon. Well, Punch Out for the Wii. That's cool.
Yeah. So they've got their hands on some different types of like Nintendo games. So I'm interested to see like where that partnership's going to, or that relationship's going to kind of end up being in the future. Whether that's like a new Luigi's Mansion or like a new game altogether. A new Punch Out game would be pretty cool.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah, so we'll see what they do. A couple other interesting things. You had Lucasfilm. They changed they basically got revived to Lucasfilm Games, and they started partnering with other people other than Electronic Arts. They're doing stuff with like Ubisoft now, and there's a lot going on in that world. And let's see here, some other interesting ones. So this is a funny one. Sad for the people that work there, but funny in the way of like, just Google already with like Stadia, they just completely shut down like their first party games division. They had just ramped up and started all this stuff, and they just like, and it's gone. And they're just refocusing the service as basically a publisher for third party games. So it's like, who knows what's going on with Stadia now? It really feels like that's just not going to go anywhere. Which I like Stadia and the Amazon Luna and all those. Like, I feel like the big boys like Sony and Microsoft stuff, were kind of scared of them for a while, but they really just seem to like be kind of fizzling out already. Yeah. So
yeah, very true.
Yeah, so not too much going on in like that streaming world for games. Nothing like groundbreaking, like nothing where like you have to get this like streaming service instead of like a new Xbox or whatever.
Yeah.
And then Electronic Arts, they picked up Codemasters, which they do like the Dirt series and some other things. So that's like just like another another dev like under the EA umbrella.
Wasn't there a big one for Sony this year? I thought I read about.
Yeah, they picked up a couple different things. So I'm just kind of going through my list here to find my Sony one.
Yeah.
But they definitely I know they picked up Blue Point, who did
That might have been it.
Who did Demon Souls.
Yeah.
And they basically they've always been a remake studio, but they're like, we're gonna make something new next. So
yeah,
that'll be pretty cool. And then they've been picking up a bunch of well, first off, they acquired Housemarque, who did Returnal.
Yes.
So
yes, that might have been it.
They're definitely going to be, great for Housemarque. Those guys are extremely talented, and I feel like they've always been working on small budgets. So, having that Sony money, they can really just blow up now, which is awesome.
That'd be super cool.
Yeah. Let's see if there's any other big ones. So Sony also picked up Fire Sprite, and they basically acquired several different smaller studios that help them as support studios for games like God of War and whatnot.
Yeah.
So,
you know what else was really cool? That Insomniac working on the Wolverine game. And I don't know if this is a plan, but the Insomniac Marvel universe, because I think that'd be really cool. It's obviously, we live in the day and age of post Avengers where Marvel movies are all just one on top of the other and they're all connected somehow. It'd be kind of cool if Insomniac did their own little Marvel universe of just things are connected. Not necessarily Spider-Man has to show up in a Wolverine game, but it wouldn't be the first time that they shared a game. I think it was Web of Shadows they were together.
There's been several, there were a few for the Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
There's definitely some past games that they've shared the spotlight together.
Yeah. I actually speaking of Super Nintendo Spider-Man X-Men game, I was playing Arcade's Revenge, I think is what it's called. Super Nintendo game with Spider-Man and some of the X-Men. Ugh. God, that game's so hard. And unnecessarily hard. Not very good, but yeah.
And then the last one of note I wanted to hit was Epic Games. They picked up Harmonix, who the guys that did Guitar Hero.
Oh.
So I don't, there might be a comeback for those types of games. We'll see.
Could be. Or maybe a new type of rhythm game.
Yeah, maybe. So, or I can tell you right now, there's going to be a bunch of musical Fortnite things going on in the future.
Yeah,
100% going to happen. But interested to see. Harmonix has always been an interesting company because they're we develop games, but it's always music based stuff, and they always do something pretty cool with it.
Yeah.
So interesting to. It's an interesting acquisition. I'm curious to see what they end up doing in the future. So I wanted to, we're running low on time, but I definitely want to talk about 2022 and some games that you might be excited for.
Oh, heck yeah. You kidding me? I got 3 right off the bat. Well.
So let's I think we could just kind of chat in general. I was gonna go. I've got this big list in front of me, but might be too many things to talk about.
There's a lot of games coming out next year.
There's a lot of stuff coming out. I can hit some of the quick headliners here. January, there's Monster Hunter Rise coming to PC. God of War is coming to PC.
That's an interesting one. Sony has its own PC kind of department now.
Yeah.
Because I think they even have their own label on Steam. I forget if it's Sony. I don't know if it's called Sony PC Games or something, but it has a very specific label.
Yeah, something like that. They're definitely looking to just port all their games in the future to PC after they've been out for a few years. But there's the Rainbow Six Extraction game. There's Pokemon Legends Arceus. Is coming out in January.
Isn't that the open world one?
Yeah, I didn't realize that was January.
Yeah.
Uncharted Legacy of Thieves collections coming out in January. February, you have Dying Light 2, Ali Ali World.
That one's fun.
Yeah, let's see if there's any other big ones on here. Horizon Forbidden West is coming out that month.
Can't wait for that one.
Yeah, and then just like I'm just kind of flying through these, but like March you got Gran Turismo 7, you got that triangle strategy game.
Oh yeah,
you got
worst
Tunic.
name.
So bad. Tiny Tina's Wonderlands.
Yeah, that one looks cool.
Let's see here. May has Forspoken.
Very excited for that one.
Yeah. We got Saints Row coming in August. We got, let's see here, a big one. Starfield's coming November 11th.
Yeah, huge.
And then there's games that aren't on this list, but probably, maybe, will be. You got like the Advance Wars, reboot or, remake or whatever you want to call that. You got Bayonetta 3.
Yeah.
You got
long-awaited Bayonetta 3.
Yeah. You got, this kind of a silly one, but the Cyberpunk 2077, like Series X and PlayStation 5 versions, I guess are coming next year. Maybe. Let's see, what are the other big ones? I mean, there's definitely like Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild 2, I guess is what I should call it.
That's one of mine that I had listed on my list, but who knows if it's actually coming out next year, but man,
yeah,
it'd be great.
There's Ghostwire Tokyo, also Ragnarok.
Awesome. Yep. Elden Ring.
Elden Ring's next year. What else?
Suicide Squad.
Yeah, Suicide Squad, which is looking rad.
Kirby.
There's that new Mario plus Rabbids game.
Yes.
The Kirby game.
Yep.
Metal Slug Tactics game. Marvel's Midnight Suns.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's not looking that great.
Yeah.
At least in my opinion.
I agreed. Looks kind of lame.
Let's see if there's anything else that kind of pops out on this list.
I mean, those are all big, giant titles.
Yeah, I know, right? It's crazy.
Those are a lot.
Sonic Frontiers.
Yeah. Well,
we'll see if it's any good.
We'll see.
And then, we talked about the TMNT Shredder's Revenge game already, which looks rad.
Yeah, it's going to be so cool.
So, it's like next year's going to be like a cool year, man.
Yeah, it seems like it's going to be stacked. If Breath of the Wild doesn't get delayed, well, if it gets announced for release, and then if God of War doesn't get delayed, if Horizon doesn't get delayed, I mean, that's a lot of heavy hitters in one year. And Starfield
100%.
Also
and Starfield.
Massive.
Yeah. Free on Game Pass. Ridiculous.
Yeah, dude. I might have to just bite the bullet and get that Xbox by next year.
I got sitting right here, man. Come get this Xbox.
I might have to.
Yeah. So, yeah, man. I don't know if you're on the same page with me, but like my big one next year, like, man, I can't wait for Breath of the Wild 2. Like, boy, oh boy.
Honestly,
but also God of War as well. Like,
that's the thing, right? So, Breath of the Wild 2, God of War 2, Elden Ring are like my three of just like Game of the Year contenders. I already know it. Like, I don't even have to play them. I already know they are Game of the Year contenders. And then it's a Suicide Squad game. A game that probably shouldn't be as good as it looks. But man, does it look fun.
Great.
Yeah, it just looks like so much fun. And God, I can't wait to play that one because I just really hope for some really cool boss fights. Because if you're going to be fighting the Justice League, man, I can't imagine how much fun these boss fights are going to be. And how creative you get to be when you fight them. Like, I really hope that it is because I'm a big DC fanboy. I am hoping it's as much fun as I'm thinking about it in my head.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Yeah.
Like, just having to fight Superman just sounds insane.
Yeah,
like
that's great.
That's not a fight you should ever need to fight.
It's not a fight you should ever win.
Yeah. But I think it's one of those like it's always one of those things when like the DC characters are like mind controlled by Brainiac or whatever, and it's just like, oh, they're only at 25% power.
Oh yeah, some nonsense.
It's always like, it's like how somebody like Batman could fight Superman or whatever.
Or like in the Injustice game, they announced it real quick of like, oh, if you swallow this pill, you get the power of like a Kryptonian. It's like, okay, sure.
Look, they got to figure out something. How you gonna fight Superman?
This is very
man's
true.
A god.
Very true.
But yeah, I mean, next year's shaping up to be a good year, man.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
And there's that Gotham Knights game too.
Yeah.
Which,
I hope that's good.
Me too. It looks really weird, and I don't know.
Yeah. We'll see, man.
Yeah.
All right, so we're running out of time. So how about we do a little round of You Nintendo Don't Know Jack?
Let's do it.
For the people that don't know this game, I got this weird box of Mario quiz cards here that have a bunch of nonsense questions from the year 1995.
One of the strangest Nintendo crossover with another company ever. With what was it? Britannica, the encyclopedia company.
This is Atlas.
Oh, Atlas.
Editions.
Atlas. There it is.
They make encyclopedias.
Yeah, just the weirdest, cross company merger. Well, not merger, but like partnership.
Yeah. So it's just like, and all the questions are like complete nonsense.
Yeah.
Barely makes sense half the time, but and always like weird answers and stuff. So, okay. Here's your first question, Hav. So this comes from Land Transportation. Hav, when was the first Rolls-Royce built? That is an automobile.
Yeah, I know it's a car. I just have no idea.
So was it 1906, 1920, or 1950?
I don't even know if it's an American company or car. I have no idea.
I want to say they're British.
Yeah, I have no clue. Man, this is just total shot in the dark because I have no idea.
Yeah.
Let's go with 1950. Was that the last one?
Yeah.
Let's go with 1950.
All right. So let's see if he knows Jack or not. And I am so sorry, but the first Rolls-Royce was built in 1906.
Oh, of course it was. The very first one, man.
Yeah. So Charles Rolls, which is a ridiculous name. Charles Rolls, a wealthy motorist. I hope he was like a real big man too.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, Charles loves
I hope he liked
Charles
to bake
Rolls
bread.
loves his rolls. But Charles Rolls, a wealthy motorist and aviator who managed a car sales company, and Henry Royce, an electrical equipment manufacturer, founded the Rolls-Royce Automobile Company in 1906.
Wow.
And
it doesn't say if they're American or not?
Let's see. It probably...
Because I honestly have no idea if that's like an American brand or, like you said, British or German or...
Yeah, I'm looking on here, but I'm not seeing where it came from.
Yeah, well, it's a car, whatever.
Yeah.
Car I'll never afford, so...
Oh, you know what? I think it's British.
Oh, nice.
So, and then on the front here, we got Mario in a Rolls-Royce cap.
Wow.
And looking at a Rolls-Royce.
That's interesting. That's an interesting image to have a Nintendo character with a brand like Rolls-Royce on there. That's really...
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, and then on the back, it's just a picture of a car.
Nice. All right. Very nice car.
I'm assuming a Rolls-Royce.
Yeah, no, it's like a Ford.
All right. Let's see here. Let's give you this silly one next. This comes from Domestic Animals.
Okay.
All right, Hav. How long do puppies usually nurse? Is it 5 days, 10 weeks, or 9 months?
It's definitely not 9 months. And I don't think it's 10 weeks because I think you're allowed to adopt a puppy after 6 or 8 weeks. Let's go with 5 days, which seems really short, but...
It does seem really short. And unfortunately, puppies usually nurse for 10 weeks.
Wow, really? That's so strange because you can adopt a puppy at like 8 weeks or something.
I maybe the ones that aren't thirsty anymore.
That's so strange. Oh, wow. Okay, well, that's... that makes me think of why humans are so useless as babies, but other animals, like... You know?
8 weeks in, they're like, I'm ready.
Yeah, like it's so weird.
It's like giraffes come out already being able to walk. And
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
It's like
why are humans just so useless as little things?
Yeah, I don't feel like I reached an age of before I thought I wasn't like stupid anymore. I was probably like 24, 26. Like, took a long time, but yeah. So puppies usually stop nursing by the time they are 10 weeks old. When a puppy stops nursing, it is said to be weaned.
Oh, interesting. All right. Well.
This picture on the front's kind of ridiculous. So it's Mario giving a bottle of milk to a dog.
That's pretty weird.
And the dog's like in a rocking chair like with a baby dog.
That's really weird. How happy so Mario looks handing her a bottle.
Yeah, he's just like, oh, I just got this milk for you.
That's so weird.
And then on the back is a dog with some puppies.
Oh, puppies.
All right. Let's see if you can make up for it with this
last.
Man,
this might be my worst game ever.
I know you typically crush these.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see if you know your history and your mountains.
Oh boy.
All right, Hav. Which U.S. president's faces are carved into Mount Rushmore?
Okay.
Is it Washington, Clinton, Roosevelt, Lincoln?
No.
Is it Washington, Lincoln, Roosevelt, Jefferson? Or is it Washington, Lincoln, Eisenhower, Jefferson?
It's the second one.
And you are correct. The faces of presidents Washington, Jefferson, Roosevelt, and Lincoln are carved into Mount Rushmore. The presidents look down from a rocky cliff more than 1 mile above sea level in the Black Hills of, do you know the state?
I have no idea where it's at. Mount Rushmore. Like I've always heard of it. I've never. I'm gonna take a guess. Mountain. I'm gonna say West Coasty. Nevada.
No, it's one of those places, like, I feel like a lot of people don't really realize where Mount Rushmore is, and it's in a weird place because, like, nothing else is in this state, but it's South Dakota. Sorry for all the South Dakota people out there. If there's more interesting things in South Dakota, please DM me. I'd love to know what those things are.
The Dakotas are the states that I think are always slept on. Nobody ever talks about them.
Yeah, they're real far north, and it's just
they're just there.
Kind of up there, just kind of there.
I think there's a lot of cows, though. I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Probably. I also I've been told that Mount Rushmore is very underwhelming.
Really?
You can't. Yeah, and you can't do anything fun. You can't like go up and like try and pick Lincoln's nose or anything. You just like
bummer.
There's some mountains,
Although it would be hilarious if Bill Clinton's face was on there.
It would be pretty funny. Hey, check it out! I'm a big mountain.
Whoa, I'm on a mountain, yeah.
Hey, baby, I'm hard as a rock.
Oh man,
Bill Clinton, man,
hilarious
what a
guy.
Character. All right, well,
what's the picture on there?
Oh yeah. So you got Mario.
Oh wow, hand gliding.
Over Mount Rushmore, which I don't think you're probably not allowed to do.
Yeah, most likely not. That's pretty amazing though. That's a cool picture.
And then on the back it's just Mount Rushmore.
Nice. I don't think Mario's ever been on a hand glider, not that I can think of.
I don't think so, man. He's done a lot of stuff, but I don't think he's ever done that one.
Yeah, it'd be kind of cool to see him do that.
Yeah, though Sonic has.
Has he? Hand glider?
Oh yeah, he's been on a hand glider.
That.
And I think it's Sonic 3 or Sonic and Knuckles. He's like on a hang glider for something.
Is he?
Or maybe I'm making that up. I don't know
if he is. He's definitely on a plane at the beginning of the game.
Yeah. Now I'm questioning myself.
I don't know if he's ever been on a hang glider.
Sonic hang glider. Let's see.
Yeah.
Hang glider.
It's just fan art.
Yeah, the hang glider is a gimmick that appears in the Sonic the Hedgehog series.
Which one?
Game appearances: Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Sonic Rush, Sonic Rush Adventures, Sonic the Hedgehog 2. 2006.
When is he on one in Sonic 2?
Yeah, and here's a picture of him in Sonic 2 on a hang glider. Yeah, okay. Wow. I'm glad I wasn't making that up. Glad we figured that out before we ended this show.
We got to handle the important stuff, the important questions.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining us this week. Remember these episodes, they typically go out around Wednesday, Thursday. This is going to be a Thursday one because I thought today was Tuesday, but it is Wednesday. And we have one more episode coming to round out the year. So, please look forward to that next week. And, of course, you can find us online at Patreon at patreon.com/multiplayered. You can also find us over at Instagram at GoMultiplayered. Hav, where can we find you?
Also on Instagram at loverboy_Hav.
And I am at Zach Matsganis. That's ZACKMATZGANIS. Please DM me if you're from South Dakota and tell me just something interesting to do there. I would love to know.
Yeah, I'd like to go visit the Dakotas.
Yeah, let's do it, man. Field trip.
Yeah.
All right, thank you so much, everybody. We will see you next week for episode 100.
Yeah.
And, of course, remember
that we love you, and you should love you too.
We love you so much, baby.
And you're beautiful.
And you're beautiful. See you next week. Peace. We here at Multiplayered would like to give a huge special thank you to Kevin Hopkins, William Euchre, and the rest of our amazing Patreon community. If you'd like to support our podcast and get a shout out at the end of each show, be sure to check out our Patreon at patreon.com/multiplayered. See you next time, players. We love ya.